So we can start by saying this first one, and you can remember screenshots if you want, if you didn't finish something, or if you want to keep something for later to do, just take screenshots. And then here's our answers. So the first one, 6 squared, is 32, because 6 times 6 is 32. So remember, that's how it works. 6 times 6 is not 32, 36.
You wrote the correct one though.
And to write it in a shorter way, we just say 6 squared is 36. So that's all the square means. It's just writing it in a shorter way. 8 squared is 64. 12 squared is 144, because it's 12 times 12. 10 squared is 10 times 10. It's 100. 15 squared is 15 times 15. It's 225. 25 squared is 625. Now, I don't know if anyone got this far, but 50 times 50, 2,500, and 100 times 100 is going to give me 10,000. Okay, so that's just a quick recap of Monday. And we are going to go back today, but before we do that, I just want to say hi to everyone who's new, who's here for the first time. Welcome, and I hope that we are going to see you a lot more. If you are late, unfortunately, it's unfair to the others who are on time to go back and repeat what we said, so you have to watch the recording. All our lessons are recorded, and you can get them on our website. I think through their dashboard, hey, Ms. Kat, they can
yes,
they can get the recordings. Also, if you have missed something, or if you just want to listen again to something that was explained, then you can just watch the recording as well. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Those are our house rules, and we're going to pick up on our lesson, and we're going to carry on where we left off on Wednesday, and that was with cube numbers. Now remember, we only have designated question time, so please don't put your hand up if it is not question time. Just put your hand down, and I'll let you know when it is question time. Okay, so this is what we said. We said, okay, like a squared number is a number times itself. So a 4 times 4 will be a 4 squared. So a 4 times 4 times 4 will be a 4 cubed. And these are called cubed numbers. So if we go quickly here to this example here, 2a, 6 cubed. What do we mean by that? We say 6 times 6 times 6. And how much is that? Work it out. Now, calculator, as always, and put it in the chat when you have an answer. It is fine if you want to do multiplication using columns or any other way that we did in our whole numbers course. So 6 times 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 is 36, and then we must times the 36 by 6 as well. So it's not the same thing. Listen up, everybody. 6 times 6 times 6 is a big number. It is 6 times itself. It is not 6 times 3. Okay, so don't confuse 6 cubed with 6 times 3. If you are doing that, then write a big note for yourself. This is not the same thing. Okay, 6 times 3 is 6 groups of 3, but 6 times 6 times 6 is 36 groups of 6. So it's a much bigger number, and it's 216. Well done. Okay, let's do the next one. 8 cubed is 8 times 8 times 8. So what is that? 8 times 8 is 64, and then we times that by 8 again. What do we get? Some people are putting answers in the chat. Let's get some more answers from other people. 64 times 8. 64 times 8. 512. Good stuff. Now here's a nice one. I always like 1. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1. And how much is that? It is just 1, because 1 times 1 is 1, and I times that by another 1, and then I just get 1. So 1 times 1 times 1, you can times 1 by itself as many times as you want, and it's still just going to be 1. Okay, and then last one, 12 cubed, 12 times 12 times 12. So 12 times 12 is 144, times by another 12, what do we get? 1,728, some people say. 432. So 144 times by 12. I know, hey, Miss Kat. I also hope they're not using, because they're awfully fast with the multiplication. Unless
especially the last one.
Yeah, unless the multiplication has improved tremendously from the last time. 1728. Okay, good stuff. Okay, and then let's just complete our page here, our table. So 1 cubed is the same as 1 times 1 times 1, and the cube number is 1. I'm going to do this one with you. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. And how much is that? No calculator. 2 times 2 times 2. We've moved on, guys. We finished with the last one, and the 12. Nice. Thank you. There's an answer, 8. Okay. Now I'm going to leave you here for about 2 minutes, till 1/4 past, and you can fill in the rest of the blanks for this table. Just there where you are, in your book, on your piece of paper, in your exam pad, wherever it is, just complete it over there. No answers in the chat right now. Just work quietly on your own for about 2 minutes. Okay, I've put the answers up and you can check yours. And just get the answers if you are not done. They are up on the board. Okay. Okay, so now we've done squared numbers, we've had a look at cube numbers. Well done, everybody. And now we are gonna just have a look at how we write exponential form. So if we look at the first question here, we got here 2 times 2 times 2. So this one's old news. We already know that this is going to be 2 cubed, because 2 is being multiplied by itself 3 times. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about mental maths. It's coming. 5 times 5, that's 5 squared. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, if we have to write that in exponential form, it gets awfully long to write it 3 times 3. I mean, what if it gets more and more and more, like the next ones? Like in question D, look at the 13th. So instead of doing all of that, saying 3 times 3 times 3, and something you have to know about mathematicians, especially the ones from ancient days who invented all of this stuff, very lazy. They were always looking for shortcuts. So the shortcut here is not to write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, but I write 3, and how many times am I multiplying it by itself? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I write it to the power of 4. And the way I say it as well is 3 to the power of 4. And we call that exponential form. Okay. So I want you to be very precise about the way you say it, because I hear people say stuff like 3, 4. And what is 3, 4? That means something different. But in maths, if you want to say 3 to the power of 4, then you must say 3 to the power of 4. Okay, not call it something else. Okay, so here's 13. 13 times 13 times 13, many times. So there's 13. And how many times am I multiplying it by itself? 13 is being multiplied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 13 to the power of 5. Now again, do not confuse this with 13 times 5. 13 times 5 is 13 groups of 5. But 13 to the power of 5 is 13 times itself, 5 times. Okay. So make sure that you realize that this is something else. This is raising it to a power, and we're writing it as an exponent. Now, that's with numbers. If we use variables, a times a, the same rule applies. A is being multiplied by itself, so that's a squared, or a to the power of 2. So the 2 and the 3, that's got some, that you can say a squared, or if it's a to the power of 3, you can say a cubed. And then for x, we can say x times x times x times x times x. How many times is x being multiplied by itself? So it's x to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X to the power of 5. There we go. Well done, everybody. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you understand. If you feel like you can't give a thumbs up yet, then you must ask a question. So thumbs up in the chat if you understand. It's just a way of writing numbers. It's not question time yet, guys, so please put your hands down. Okay. Now, we can also do the other way around. We can say, okay, if we have 3 to the power of 4, then how many times is 3 being multiplied by itself? It's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. And 6 to the power of 6, 6 times 6. You see, this is very tedious and time consuming and wasting ink. So we just use 6 to the power of 6. But what it means is that it's 6 multiplied by itself 6 times. Okay. Now, do C, D, E, and F just on your own where you are. You don't have to put it in the chat. Ms. Kat, you can disable the chat, please. And just put it where you are on your page. Just do it there. Two to the power of 8, 4 to the power of 3, b to the power of 3, and 12 to the power of 5. Okay, while everyone's doing that at home, I'll take 1 or 2 questions. Unati, you have your hand up.
Ma'am, for the A times A, does it mean like can we see, look at the A that is, sorry ma'am,
That's being multiplied.
yeah, I don't understand what does the A mean for me.
So A can be any number, so you just treat it like a number. So it could be any other number, but we don't know what it is, so we just call it an A and we treat it like a number. The same with the X.
Thank
So
you.
X times X times X times X is X to the power of 5.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Right, Dimple.
Ma'am,
Yes.
like if you times, you must take at the number on the top, you must times it by the number that it is.
Say again.
Like for example, if you say 5 times 5, it will be 5 the power of 2.
Yes.
So you must
Yeah,
write
so-
the number. So you must write you must count the numbers.
Yes, so you say 5 times 5 is being times by itself twice. So it's 5 to the power of 2, or 5 squared. And here we had 2 times 2 times 2, that's 2 to the power of 3. But 2 is not being times by 3. That's not what the sum says. The sum says it's 2 times 2 times 2. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Last one from Kanyisile.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if today we still have the quiz.
Yes, we do. I said that at the start.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And okay, I'm going to take one more from Brianna. Brianna, you can unmute and ask your question. Okay, Brianna, I'm going to move on to Fense.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ma'am, with the exponents, if we don't write it above the number, will it be wrong? Like 3 to the power of 4. If I write 34, will it be wrong?
Yes. Is 3 to the power of 4 the same thing as 34? Let's see.
Ma'am.
Yeah, so we can't write it like that. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. How much is that? Let's work it out. So 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27, times another 3 is going to be 81. You see, it's not the same thing, so we can't write it. They're two different things. It's like saying you're the same person as someone else, but you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Okay, that's all the time we have for questions. We just need to carry on a bit because we're still making up some ground from from Monday. Okay, so it's important that you know all your terms and your words. So when it says write an exponential notation, it means your answer must have an exponent. And the exponent is always this small number here that shows you how many times the 3 is being multiplied by itself. So that is called the exponent. The 3 we call the base. And the whole thing, the 3 with its exponent, is called a power. Okay, so exponent is the small number that you write that hangs out at the top there. The big number is called the base. That is the number that is being multiplied by itself. And all of this together is called a power. Okay, let's do this quickly because I think this is important, just to clear up any confusion that you might have. Say whether the following are true or false, and then give a reason. Ms. Thatch, you can open the chat again. So is 6 squared the same as 6 times 2? Let's see who's been listening. 6 squared, is it the same as 6 times 2? True or false? It's false. And what reason can I give for that? False, yes. It is false. Why? Yes, but 6 times 6 is 36, and 6 times 2 is equal to 12. Okay, so not the same thing. Is 25 to the power of 0 the same as 25 times 0? We're doing question 2. 25 to the power of 0, is that the same as 25 times by 0? True or false? So if you guys are saying true, you're telling me that raising something to a power is the same as multiplying it. But is that true? This is most definitely false, because raising something to a power and timesing something is not the same thing. Okay, so 25 to the power of 0 does not equal 25 times 0. Okay, now here's one. Let's see, you can think of this one. Is 100 to the power of 1 the same as 100? That is true, yes. Well done. That is indeed true. So that's another thing. If you have something that is just on its own, so say we have 100, then its power is 1. So 100 just on its own is 100 to the power of 1. So 5, even though it's not written there, it is 5 to the power of 1. And 6 is to the power of 1 if it's just 6. Okay. Right, I think it's time for our mental maths for today. Let me just see where the mental maths is. Here we go. Okay, all right. Okay, so we all are warmed up because we've already done some maths today already. So yeah, get ready with your space and write your heading, mental maths, and I'll get the timer ready. And yeah, I haven't put the slide up. Calm down. It's gonna come up just now. Okay. So there we go. We've got 12 sums. And you have a minute and a half. You can start. Okay, you can stop. How did that go? Did anyone finish? Awesome. Okay, so this was a bit of a reminder of bottomers now. So there's a few places maybe you wanted to put brackets. Maybe you are good at this already and you don't need brackets or whatever, but you definitely needed some. So 75 divided, not divided, minus 75 minus 25 is 50. And then you do the 6 times 6 first because it's bottomless, and then 6 plus 36 is going to give me 42. And then here 9 times 9 is 81 plus 9 is 90. First add the 3 and the 2. 45 divided by 5 is 9. Then 17 times 2 is 34, but you do that first, and you do this first. So 34 minus 3 is 31. 9 times 3 is 27, divided by 9. So you first do that, and then that. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. 8 squared, here's our squares. They are going to creep in much more. So 64 divided by 4 is 16, I think, plus 3 is 19. And then 4 plus 7 is 11 times 3 is 33. 63 divided by 9 is 7 plus 7 is 14. And then 6 plus 3, this is going to be 45. And 7. 4 is 10, it's 9, it's 90. The brackets are too small. Okay, there we go. So put however many you attempted. Number 7 isn't 19. What do you say it is then, Leishan? 8 squared is 64 divided by 4. $64 divided by 4. I'm sure that's 16. Ones, there's 2 there. 16, yeah. 16 plus 3 is 19. Hey, Miss Kat?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. See, as if Miss Kat says it's right, then it's right.
Oh,
Who
I'm
am
gonna
I
start
to
checking you
argue?
guys.
Okay, well done, guys. I hope that you're seeing some improvement. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to start mixing our operations with the new work that we are learning about exponents. And we're first just going to start off by working out some square numbers, and then we're going to go a bit further. Okay, so I want you to do what's on the screen, but just do up to number 6. Up to number 6. Just work on your own, give it your best shot. And then in about 2 minutes, we'll meet back and compare answers. So work on your own, do 1 to 6. And then if you're really fast, then you can do up to 9. But my expectation is that you must do up to 6 at least. Okay, I see Mzee has got a question. Mzee, what is your question? You can unmute.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ma'am, I wanted to answer the question, like, for...
But we haven't.
I wanted to answer.
But we haven't asked a question yet. So, yeah. Just do number 1 to 6 there in your book. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Paul, do you have a question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, how do we plus 7 the 2 with the,
Say again.
how do we plus those two numbers if they are multiples?
So you first work out what 7 squared is and what 1 squared is, and then you plus them.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so if we're doing 7 squared plus 1 squared, so we work out what 7 squared is. That's 7 times itself, right? Which is 49. And then 1 times itself is 1. And what is 49 plus 1? That's 50. And if we do 7 squared minus 3 squared, so you work out what 7 squared is. 7 squared is 49. And then 3 squared is 9. And then you just go 49 minus 9 is 40. Okay, so there's my hints. You can keep going. When you are done, put a thumbs up in the chat. Up to 6. I'm going to take one more question from Tsiamu Tabiso. What's your question? Ask your question, I'll answer it.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I can understand what you did at question 1 and 2.
Which part?
Mostly question 2, because 7 squared minus 3 squared, isn't it supposed to be 7 times 2, then you get your answer, and then 3 times 2?
No. So 7 times 2 is different to 7 to the power of 2. 7 to the power of 2 is 7 times 7, which is 49. Okay, so be careful of that.
Yes, ma'am, I forgot completely. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, just give it another go, hey?
Mhm.
Okay, righty. Let's see. 9 squared, we said is 81, plus 100 squared. 10 squared is 100. Add those together, you get 181. Okay. Question 4, put your answer in the chat so that I can see what you did. Some people say 20. Okay, so we're going to work out the 6 squared. This is not 6 times 2. If it was 6 times 2, it would have been written like that. Okay, so it's 6 squared. 6 squared is 6 times 6. And until you get used to it and you get to know these off by heart, which you will because you're going to be doing them so much, 6 times 6 is 36. So work it out on the side for yourself on in a little corner of your page or something. Maybe you want to divide your page into 2 and do working out on one side and everything else next to it. 4 squared is 4 times 4, and that is 16. And 36 minus 16 is 20. Nice. There we go, Tara Jane. If you are confused, you need to ask a proper question, guys. Just saying I'm confused. About what? About why the weather is like it is today, about you know, when the quiz is or what we're doing. You need to be very exact about what you are confused about so that I can help you. If you just say confused, I can't help you. So be specific. Okay, so this one is 5 squared. So 5 squared is 5 times 5. And you can even make like a little note card for yourself with all of these on it. Like from 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, all of those. Like make a little note card and keep it with you. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. So 5 squared is 25 times by 9. And what do you get when you times 25 by 9? $225. Nice. Okay. Now 4 squared. Now you can just go to your little note over here and you can look up what 4 squared is. That's 16. And then you divide it. We don't have 2 times 2 yet. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then you say 2 squared divided by 4. How much is that? Put it in the chat. What's the answer for 6? That's 4. Okay. Right. So that's some operations with squared numbers. I'm going to end off and we're going to do some other ones where we are a bit more, where we've got some mixed operations in there. Let me just see what I got here. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, let's start with our cube numbers. Now again, we're going to do from 1 to 6. I'll do the first one with you. So 5 cubed means 5 times 5 times 5. And what is 5 times 5 times 5? What is 5 times 5? It's 125. Well done. Okay. And what is 1 cubed? That should be like a no-brainer. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. It's not 3 because 1 to the power of 3 is not the same thing as 1 times 3. Okay, so be very sure about that. Keep checking. Okay. So what are we going to add? We're going to add 125 plus 1. Okay, do the next one, question 2 on your own. Okay, there is a hand. Larona, you have a question? Well, everyone else carry on up to number 6.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
What is bed mass?
BMAS is just order of operations, including exponents. So the E stands for exponents. So instead of having brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, you have brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, and etc.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Cat, do you see what I
Yeah.
see?
Yep, sorted it out already.
Okay, thank you. Okay, offense. Offense, you can unmute.
Ma'am,
Yep.
ma'am, do we use PEMDAS or do we use PEMDAS?
Say that again.
Ma'am, do we use PEMDAS or do we use PEMDAS?
PEMDAS or PEMDAS, like that.
Yes, ma'am. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division,
Yes.
addition, and subtraction.
Okay, so parentheses is the same as brackets. So it's the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So it depends whatever your teacher's using, or I just use PEMDAS because we're used to brackets, and parentheses is not a word that everyone uses. Ms. Kat, just disable the chat, please.
Yeah, I just did.
Thank you. Okay, let's do this last one. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So again, you can make a little note space for yourself with your cube numbers. And then 3 to the power of 3, you can put that in your note space as well. 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So we are going to go 1,000 minus 81. And if we subtract 81 from 1,000, now I can't get you guys to answer it because we unfortunately had to disable the chat because people were misbehaving, and that's 919. Okay, this one's 5 cubed minus 5 squared plus 5. So we're still just doing plus and minus, so we can work from left to right, no problem. 5 cubed, we said, is 125 minus 25 plus 5. And that's going to be 100 plus 5 is 105. 10 to the power of 3, we said, was 1,000. And 4 to the power of 3, that is going to be 64 times by 2. So this part we're going to have to do first. So 1,000 plus 64 times 2 is 128. So that's 1,128. And then 5 cubed minus 4 cubed, that's 1,000 minus 64. Yeah, 4 times 4 times 4. Put that on your summary sheet or whatever it is that you have, a little card with all your cube numbers on it. But 4 cubed is 64. And then 1,000 minus 64 is going to be 936. Okay, so here we have to do, in question 6, we have to do the multiplication first and then subtract. So 2 to the power of 3 is 8 times 10 to the power of 3 is 1,000. And then we subtract 125 from that because 5 to the power of 3 is 125. So that's 8,000 minus 125 is going to be 7,875. Okay. Right, guys. So that's all for today. I'm going to